In 2025, the world will keep spinning, louder, faster, and more distracted than ever. But you've got a different plan. This is your year to turn inward, not outward, not to compete with the noise, but to rise above it. Because when you focus on yourself, the world has no choice but to notice. See, the truth is, you can't control the economy, you can't control politics, you can't control who gets the promotion or who gets the spotlight. But you can control what time you wake up, you can control what you read, you can control how often you exercise, how you speak to yourself, and how consistent you are. And that's where the magic happens. Most people spend their lives watching others, scrolling, comparing, envying. But the top 5%, they do the opposite. They build, they grow, they reflect. They spend time in silence so they can hear their own thoughts, not someone else's opinions. 2025 is not going to reward those who are busy. It's going to reward those who are intentional. Those who know that success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. So take inventory. Where are you slipping? What habits are costing you? What's one decision you keep postponing that would change everything? Don't look to the world to change. Change your mindset. Change your daily rhythm. Change the energy you bring into a room and watch how everything around you slowly bends in your favor. This year, make it personal, be your own experiment, track your growth, outwork your excuses, cut out what drains you. Add what feeds you, because when you become someone who is focused, the world can't distract you. When you know who you are, the world can't confuse you. And when you build yourself, you no longer have to beg for anything. You become the source. 2025 doesn't need a louder version of you. It needs a stronger one, a wiser one, a more aligned one. So go ahead. Log out of distractions. Unsubscribe from drama. Unfollow comparison. And return to you. Your next level doesn't require a miracle. It requires attention, focus, discipline, and time spent on the one thing you can actually control: yourself. You can't control the world, but you can control your habits, choices, and mindset. That truth alone is your power. Because the world is unpredictable, people will let you down, plans will fall apart, the unexpected will knock at your door when you're least ready. But what never loses its value, what always remains within your reach, is your response. It's your daily decision to rise with discipline, to act when it's easier to delay, to speak life into your goals when the world speaks doubt into your ear. Every day you have a set of choices about how you start your morning. What you feed your body, what you allow into your mind, who you choose to listen to, and how you interpret what happens to you. You can choose to complain, or you can choose to build. You can choose to stay where it's comfortable, or you can choose to grow where it's hard. Because habits are the structure of your future. They're the quiet builders behind every loud success. They shape you when no one's watching. They reveal who you really are, not just who you say you want to be. And mindset, that's your lens. It decides whether today is a curse or a lesson, whether failure is final or just feedback, whether life is happening to you or happening for you. The world will always be chaotic. There will always be headlines screaming fear. There will always be someone louder, richer, or more noticed. But none of that matters when you're aligned with your own values, when your habits reflect discipline, when your choices reflect purpose, when your mindset reflects resilience. That's when you realize the world doesn't need to change for you to win. You just have to manage what you can control and let go of the rest. Because real power isn't found in trying to control everything. It's found in mastering yourself. It's found in showing up every day, even when you're tired, in choosing integrity over ease, in choosing effort over excuses. You can't silence the noise out there, but you can control whether you let it inside you. You can't stop people from doubting you, but you can choose to keep going anyway. You can't prevent all hardship, but you can choose to grow through it. Every decision you make in the small moments stacks up. They form the compound effect of a life you're proud to live, and it all starts within, with your mindset. Your focus, your discipline. The world is chaotic, but your inner world doesn't have to be. Choose wisely. Train your habits like your future depends on it, because it does. Protect your mindset like it's sacred, because it is. And make your choices like they're carving your legacy, because they are. In a noisy, distracted world, self-focus becomes a superpower. Every day you wake up surrounded by voices, some telling you what success should look like, others telling you what you're missing, what you're lacking, what you're supposed to chase. But very few remind you to pause, to turn inward, to listen to your own voice, because the world doesn't reward the loudest. It rewards the most aligned, the most centered, the ones who know what they want, why they want it, and how to keep moving toward it, even when the world is shouting in the opposite direction. Distraction is everywhere. You carry it in your pocket. You scroll past it every hour. It's packaged in comparison, in outrage, in artificial urgency. And if you're not intentional, it steals your time, your energy, and your identity, one click at a time. But there's another way, a quieter way, a more powerful way. It's the way of focus, the way of discipline, the way of tuning out the noise to tune into what really matters. When you focus on yourself, you stop chasing trends and start building truth. You stop performing for others and start showing up for yourself. You stop measuring your worth by someone else's timeline and start respecting your own journey. Self-focus isn't selfish, it's foundational. Because you can't give to others what you haven't first built within yourself. You can't lead others if you haven't first led your own thoughts, your own habits, your own emotions. You can't stay steady in chaos if your mind is scattered in 1,000 directions. And in a world that profits off your distraction, staying focused becomes a form of rebellion. It becomes your strength, your clarity, your edge. When others are distracted, you're improving. When others are scrolling, you're sharpening. When others are watching, you're building, and that's what separates growth from stagnation. That's what separates progress from noise. Because the truth is, you don't need more motivation. You need fewer distractions. You don't need more opinions. You need more silence. You don't need to impress people who don't know your purpose. You need to focus on becoming the version of you who does. Every moment you choose focus, you reclaim power. Power over your time, power over your attention, power over your life. So make your inner world louder than the outer one. Make your goals more vivid than their opinions. Make your vision more powerful than their validation. Because when you focus on yourself, not to isolate, but to align, you become unstoppable. You become grounded in your purpose, and you build something no trend, no comment, no distraction can take away. Most people consume, few people build. Choose to be a builder. It's easier to scroll than to study, easier to watch than to work, easier to react than to create. That's the world we live in, a world flooded with opinions, noise, and distractions. A world where everyone's watching but very few are doing. But you weren't made to be a passive observer. You were built to build. You were designed to shape your days, not just survive them. To craft your future, not wait for one to be handed to you. To live with intention, not addiction to entertainment and distraction. Every second you spend consuming, someone else is building. Building skills, building discipline, building wealth, building a life they don't need to escape from. And the builders, they don't chase trends, they set them. They don't need constant validation. They get fulfillment from progress. They don't scroll through inspiration. They become the inspiration. Building isn't glamorous. It's not loud. It's not always fun. It's early mornings. It's late nights. It's sacrifice. It's repetition. It's showing up when motivation is gone and excuses are loud. But what you build outlasts the moment. It becomes part of you. It becomes proof of your resilience, your vision, your grit. When you build something, you don't just change your environment, you change your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a bystander and start seeing yourself as a creator. Someone who takes full ownership. Someone who plants the seed, waters it daily, and trusts the process, no matter how long it takes. You don't build for likes, you build for legacy. You don't build to impress. You build to evolve, because what you build becomes your character, and character never goes out of style. The world will keep offering shortcuts, keep flashing quick dopamine, keep rewarding the easy path. But that's not your path. You're not here to be constantly entertained. You're here to grow, to produce, to improve, to leave your mark. You build when you learn a new skill instead of binging another show. You build when you reflect instead of react. You build when you take action on your goals instead of waiting for the perfect time. And the best part, building compounds. Small steps, taken daily, become unstoppable momentum. Brick by brick, you rise. Decision by decision, you transform. You don't have to be perfect to build. You just have to be consistent. You don't need applause to start. You just need a reason. And if your reason is strong enough, the results will follow. So when the world tempts you to consume, pause. Ask yourself, am I building something that lasts? Am I investing in what I want to become? Because what you build today becomes who you are tomorrow. Choose to be a builder. Success in 2025 will favor the intentional, not just the busy. Because busy is everywhere. Busy is easy to fake. Busy looks productive on the surface, but it often leads nowhere. We've been conditioned to equate movement with progress. But activity without direction is just distraction in disguise. You can fill your day with tasks and still be stuck in the same place. You can answer emails, attend meetings, cross off to-do lists, and still not get any closer to the life you truly want. That's where intentionality comes in. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. It's about aligning your time with your values, your goals, your vision. Intentional people don't just react, they choose. They don't fill their schedules with noise. They create space for what actually builds them. They don't live to impress, they live to progress. In 2025, with more distractions, more pressure, more urgency than ever, success won't go to the one who works the longest. It'll go to the one who works with clarity, the one who knows what to say no to, the one who sets boundaries and protects their focus like it's gold, because it is. Busy people chase everything. Intentional people pursue the right things. Busy people burn out. Intentional people build up, and that difference is everything. The future doesn't belong to the frantic. It belongs to the focused, to the ones who wake up on purpose, not just out of routine. To the ones who structure their time, not because they're rigid, but because they respect what they're building. You don't need to do it all. You need to do what moves you forward, what sharpens your mind, what fuels your purpose, what brings peace and momentum into your life. Intentional living means taking full ownership of your energy, your priorities, your direction. It means you don't follow every trend, every headline, every distraction. You follow your path, even if it's quiet, even if it's slow, even if no one claps at first, because you know where it leads. You plan with intention, you rest with intention, you grow with intention, and most importantly, you act with intention. Every day becomes a seed, and what you plant with purpose will eventually multiply. So while others chase busyness to feel important, you chase depth to become effective. While others are scattered, you're building something solid. In 2025, success won't be about who hustles the hardest. It will be about who decides with clarity, who eliminates with confidence, who lives with intention. Be that person, not the busiest but the most aligned. Self-reflection is more valuable than external validation. Because what the world thinks of you can change in an instant. But what you think of yourself is what determines everything. You can get the likes. You can earn the applause. You can impress strangers on the internet. But if you've lost connection with who you are, none of it lasts. None of it feels real. Validation is loud, but it fades quickly. It's addictive, but never satisfying. It pulls you further from your core if you start chasing it. Self-reflection, on the other hand, is quiet, but it's powerful. It builds roots. It brings clarity. It keeps you aligned with your values, even when the crowd is moving in a different direction. In a world obsessed with being seen, reflection is how you stay centered. When you reflect, you ask deeper questions. Why am I doing this? Who am I becoming in the process? Am I living my truth, or just chasing approval? External validation asks, do they approve of me? Self-reflection asks, do I respect myself? And that's a question only you can answer. You don't need to post everything. You don't need to prove anything. You need to know that what you're doing aligns with who you want to be, because fame can disappear, applause can go silent, but self-awareness, that stays, that carries you when no one else sees your progress, that guides you when there's no spotlight. Reflection is how you grow on purpose. It's how you learn from your mistakes. It's how you improve your character, not just your performance. Validation feels good in the moment, but it can't build your identity. It can't help you sleep at night. It can't give you peace when you're alone with your thoughts, but reflection can. When you reflect, you start choosing differently. You spend time with better people. You build healthier habits. You focus on long-term growth over short-term praise. You stop needing approval because you're already accountable to a higher standard, your own. You stop comparing yourself to others because you're too focused on becoming better than you were yesterday. You stop being desperate to be liked and start being devoted to becoming someone you truly admire. You become your own mirror, your own motivator, your own source of direction. Validation is borrowed. Reflection is earned. And once you begin to live from the inside out, no opinion can shake your foundation. You grow deeper. You move quieter. You stand taller, not because people noticed, but because you noticed. You know what you've overcome. You know what you've healed. You know the work you're doing when no one's clapping. And that inner knowing, that's worth more than 1,000 compliments. So step away from the noise, turn inward, ask the hard questions, and keep building a life that makes sense to you. Even if no one else understands it yet. Track your habits and take full responsibility for your progress. Because what gets measured gets managed, and what gets ignored slowly fades into failure. Success isn't random. Growth isn't a mystery. Your results, good or bad, are a reflection of the habits you repeat daily. You don't rise to the level of your potential. You fall to the level of your systems, and habits are the system behind every breakthrough, every transformation, every lasting change. If you want to improve your life, you have to start by observing it. Not judging yourself, observing yourself. What do you do when no one's watching? What are your first thoughts in the morning? What choices do you make when you're stressed, tired, or tempted? The answers are always there. But you have to be honest enough to look. You have to be courageous enough to face your patterns, not just your plans, because plans are easy to write. Habits are hard to live. Progress begins when you stop lying to yourself. When you stop blaming the environment, the timing, or other people, and you start owning your part. That's where real freedom lives, in full responsibility, not guilt, not shame, but ownership. You have to track it. Write it down, measure it, be accountable to the data, not your excuses, because your brain will lie to you. It will justify laziness. It will overestimate effort and underestimate distractions. But numbers don't lie. Habits don't lie. The truth is always found in consistency. You don't need more motivation. You need a mirror, something that reflects your actions back at you, so you can see the gap, so you can make adjustments. So you can improve intentionally. Tracking your habits creates clarity. It shows you exactly where your time is going. It reveals what's working and what's weighing you down. It separates what feels urgent from what's truly important. And once you see the truth, you get to decide, keep repeating the same cycles, or build new ones, keep pretending progress is happening, or make sure that it is. No one else is responsible for your growth. Not your boss, not your coach, not your family, not your circumstances. It's on you, your effort, your attention, your discipline. That's a powerful truth, because it means your future is not in someone else's hands. It's in your habits, and you get to choose them every single day. So track your habits like your future depends on it, because it does. Track your habits so you don't waste your life living the same year over and over. Track your habits so you can design a version of you that lives with strength, clarity, and purpose. Track your habits because progress isn't found in big leaps. It's built through small wins, stacked consistently. And take full responsibility, not just when it's easy, not just when things are going well, but especially when they're not. That's when character is built. That's when real transformation begins, when you stop outsourcing your progress. And you decide from this moment on, you are fully in charge. Cut out energy drainers and double down on what makes you grow, because not everything deserves your time, not everyone deserves your energy, and not every habit deserves a place in your future. Your energy is limited, your focus is sacred. If you give it away carelessly, you'll have nothing left for what actually matters. Every day, you're either being fueled or being drained. And the difference between the two is everything. Some conversations build you, some only exhaust you, some habits sharpen you, others slowly break you down, some thoughts empower you, and some thoughts keep you stuck. Growth isn't just about adding more to your life, it's about removing what's in the way. It's about noticing what's slowing you down, and having the discipline to walk away from it. If it drains your energy, it's too expensive. If it disrupts your peace, it doesn't belong. If it holds you back, it's not worth holding on to. Start with your environment. Look at the spaces you spend time in. Do they inspire you? Do they reflect your goals? Or are they filled with distraction, clutter, and comfort zones? Then look at your relationships. Are you surrounded by people who challenge you, who believe in you, who remind you of your potential? Or are you constantly explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand? Next, look at your habits. What do you do when no one's watching? Are your routines helping you rise, or helping you settle? Are you growing daily or just going through the motions? Energy drainers come in many forms: comparison, procrastination, overcommitment, negativity, overthinking, and too often we get used to them. We normalize the weight they put on our shoulders, but once you become aware, you can no longer pretend not to see. That awareness is your power. That's the moment you get to choose differently. Cutting out what drains you doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It means you've decided that your energy is valuable, that your time isn't up for grabs, that your growth is more important than anyone else's comfort. And once you remove what drains you, you make room for what grows you. For habits that energize you, for routines that bring clarity, for people who challenge you to be better, for work that fills you with purpose, for progress that actually moves your life forward. Double down on those things. On the workouts that build discipline, on the books that expand your thinking, on the silence that strengthens your mind, on the goals that stretch your limits, on the conversations that bring fire to your spirit. Your energy is your most important currency. Spend it with intention, protect it with boundaries, and invest it where it multiplies, because you can't grow while you're being drained, and you can't rise if you're always recovering from what pulls you down. Cut it out, let it go, and double down on what makes you better, day by day, brick by brick, choice by choice. Know yourself deeply so the world can't shake your focus, because when you don't know who you are, everything becomes a distraction. Every opinion feels like truth, every trend looks like a path, every criticism becomes a wound, but when you know yourself truly deeply, nothing can move you unless you choose to be moved. You don't need validation because you've already done the inner work. You don't chase applause because your purpose is louder than approval. You don't get lost in comparison because your direction is already clear. The world is noisy. It will try to define you. It will try to shape you, label you, distract you. But that only works when your identity is still fragile, when you haven't taken the time to ask the hard questions. Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I want when no one else is watching? This isn't about confidence. It's about clarity. And clarity doesn't come from the outside. It comes from silence, from reflection, from sitting alone with your thoughts and not running away. Know your values. Know your weaknesses. Know your triggers. Know your dreams, because the more honest you are with yourself, the harder it becomes for the world to throw you off track. If you know your why, the noise loses its power. If you know your vision, the distractions lose their appeal. If you know your standards, the pressure to fit in fades away. People will always have opinions. That's their job. But your job is to know who you are so deeply that their opinions don't rewrite your story. Without self-awareness, you become reactive. You respond to everything. You doubt yourself constantly. You start chasing things that were never meant for you. But with self-awareness, you become intentional. You move with purpose. You respond with wisdom. You choose with peace. You don't need to do what everyone else is doing. You just need to do what aligns with who you are. You don't need to impress. You need to stay in integrity. Because the most powerful person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who knows exactly why they're there. So take the time to understand yourself, not just your strengths, but your patterns, not just your goals, but your fears. Not just your vision, but the lies you've been taught to believe. That knowledge protects you, it grounds you, it builds an internal compass that no storm can break. You won't always be the most talented. You won't always be the most liked, but if you are the most anchored, you will endure. You will keep building when others burn out. You will keep believing when others quit. You will keep moving forward when others lose direction. And it's not because the world got easier, it's because you got clearer. Clarity is a shield, focus is a weapon, and knowing yourself is the foundation that holds it all together. When you know who you are, the world no longer has permission to define you. And that is how you stay unshakable. You don't need more opinions, you need more clarity, because opinions are everywhere. Everyone has one. Friends, family, strangers online. They all have something to say about how you should live, what you should do, who you should be. But more noise doesn't lead to better decisions. More voices don't bring more direction. If anything, they blur the line between what's true for them and what's right for you. You ask for advice, thinking it'll solve your doubt. But too often, it only multiplies your confusion. One person says go left, another says go right, and before you know it, you're standing still, not because you don't care, but because you've lost touch with your own voice. Clarity isn't something you find in the crowd. It's something you cultivate in the quiet. It's not shouted from a stage. It's whispered in the stillness. When you know who you are, you don't need a committee to approve your next move. You trust your values, you trust your process, you trust your gut. You stop asking, what do they think? And start asking, what do I know Because you do know. Under the layers of doubt, distraction, and noise, your truth is still there. Waiting to be heard, waiting to be followed, but you have to get quiet enough to hear it. You have to step away from the crowd to find your direction. You have to stop collecting advice like trophies and start collecting insights through action. Opinions are cheap. Clarity is earned through reflection, through journaling, through trial and error, through showing up, messing up, and still moving forward. No one else can live your life. So no one else can define your path. Clarity doesn't mean certainty. It means alignment. It means making decisions that match your values, even if the outcome is unknown. You don't need more approval. You need more conviction. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to understand yourself, and once you do, everything changes. You stop chasing 10 different paths. You stop needing constant reassurance. You stop waiting for someone to tell you it's okay to begin. You begin with focus, with intention, with trust. The truth is, the people who live with purpose aren't always the loudest. They're not always the most popular. But they are the clearest. They're the ones who have decided that peace is more valuable than popularity, that inner alignment is stronger than outside applause, that living true is better than living like. So stop asking everyone for their opinion. Start asking yourself better questions. Start listening to the answers that rise from within. Clarity is quiet, but it's strong. It cuts through doubt. It clears the fog. It gives your next step direction. Even when the whole road isn't visible, you don't need more opinions. You need more clarity, and that clarity is already within you. You just have to trust it. Growth starts when you stop waiting and start working on yourself daily. Not once a week, not when you feel inspired, not when life gets easier, but daily, consistently, intentionally, because waiting is the silent killer of progress. Waiting for the right time, waiting for motivation, waiting for permission, waiting for someone else to go first. But growth doesn't wait. It responds to action. It answers the ones who show up before they feel ready. It rewards those who build, not those who hope. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a commitment. A decision that no matter how messy it looks, you'll keep moving forward. One page read, one habit improved, one negative thought replaced. It's not about massive leaps. It's about daily choices, the small ones, the ones no one sees, the ones that look insignificant in the moment, but compound into transformation over time. Growth is a lifestyle, not a weekend project, not a once-in-a-while burst of motivation. It's what you do when no one is watching. It's how you treat yourself when no one's clapping. It's how disciplined you are when comfort calls your name. When you stop waiting, you take your power back. You stop depending on outside forces. You stop outsourcing your growth to circumstances. You realize your potential isn't buried in the future. It's hidden in your daily routine. Every day is an opportunity to evolve, to think better, to move better, to choose better. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You need to take one honest step forward, and then do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. That's how the breakthrough happens. You stop waiting for confidence and start building it. You stop waiting for the path to be clear and start walking into the fog. You stop waiting for support and start supporting yourself. And the more you work on yourself, the more you begin to see that growth is not something you chase. It's something you attract, by the person you're becoming, by the standards you set, by the consistency you practice. The outside world might not change overnight, but you will, and when you do, the world begins to respond differently. Opportunities find the prepared, peace finds the disciplined, success finds the committed. So let others wait for luck. Let others wait for signs. You get to work. You build your foundation. You sharpen your mind. You strengthen your habits. And one day the results will speak. Not because you got lucky, but because you stopped waiting and you started becoming, one day at a time, one choice at a time, one step at a time. So don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. Don't wait for life to slow down. Rise above the chaos. Don't wait for someone to push you. Be your own engine. Start now, start small. Start with what you have, because your future is not built by chance. It's built by what you do daily and the version of you you're dreaming of. They're waiting on the other side of your discipline. This is your time. This is your season. And it all begins the moment you decide to stop waiting and start working on yourself.